Let's go. Can't let nobody take my love. Can't let take my love.
Awesome. All right. Hey, butterflies. Welcome back. This is Farah. Back to the Butterfly Diaries podcast. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me here. The Jasmine Sims is here with us today, and I'm so excited to interview her and ask her a few questions and dive into her story. So, if this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Farah Voltaire. This is the Butterfly Diaries podcast where we come here to spread our wings and learn how to fly freely. God has brought this podcast a very long way, and I'm very blessed to have this wonderful, wonderful guest here today. So, Jasmine, thank you so much for coming on. I'm ecstatic. I have been following you for a little while, a few months now. Your poetry is just amazing. I just want you to go ahead and just introduce yourself, say what you do, where you're from, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Jasmine Sims. I am originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Some folks think Chicago because I lived a lot of years there. But yeah, I'm a spoken word artist. I'm an author, and that is my first love. That is what I do, and that is what I hope to do for as long as the Lord will allow. So,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And what is your handle? Where can people find you?
at the Jasmine Sims, that is my handle across the board. My website, Twitter, all the things. The Jasmine Sims.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so Jasmine, I really, really admire your work. Like everything that you do, like your poetry, the way that you deliver it is really what dragged me in because it's so intimate and passionate, and you can really hear how you're pouring yourself into the words. And I remember like one day I was listening to one of your poems, and I was like, man, like the way that she pours herself into every single poem that she drops, it's insane because you can see the deeper part of yourself, even parts I feel like you're uncomfortable of sharing. Is that true? Like you're like a little bit uncomfortable of sharing certain parts, but you still kind of allow that vulnerability side out. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that's definitely part of it, and just being honest about where I am. And I think it's all about using wisdom on how to deliver a message without sharing how you learned that message. So
ooh,
yeah, there is some discomfort in certain pieces, but then
yeah,
some things is like so much time has passed, or the piece is more so a metaphor from something. So it just depends. It's case by case, but there is
yeah.
discomfort in certain pieces.
Nice. I like that. I like that. So it's like telling the story, but without telling the story.
Yes.
It's really that is dope. That is dope. So so who is Jasmine Sims? Who is Jasmine Sims? If you had to define yourself in like 3 words, what would you say?
Ooh, 3 words.
Yeah.
I would say ambiguous,
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
genuine, and ambiguous, genuine, and weird. Those are my words.
Which is dope. Weird is good.
Weird is
Weird is
awesome,
good.
man.
Listen, awkward black girls need to like rise up and like unite because this is a thing. Being
But
awkward is like a thing, and I feel like we have that stigma on us that's like, oh, you have to be strong and like kind of like focused, but there's an awkward part of us as well that I feel like is like not embraced enough. So
yeah,
I really enjoy, I appreciate you saying weird because I'm very awkward and I'm very weird at times. So I appreciate that because a lot of people don't realize that there are introverted black girls out here who just kind of like to be alone and like yeah, like to be alone, don't like to be out too much. And the post you
yeah,
posted on your story the other day, I was like, I feel that that's too much. But like it's a lot. It's a lot at times, and the fact that that was another thing that drew me to you. I was like, man, this girl's like me, like solitude. Like I don't
hmm
like too much around, too much. I like to have my space.
yeah.
So I completely get that. I get that 100%. So I love that. That's awesome. So how has poetry helped you? How has it helped you um, pretty much become who you are today?
Well, I was writing as a child, like when I was learning how to read, I was writing at the same time I started telling my own stories and recreating stories. So I think writing for me has given me a voice,
Mm,
or not given me a voice, but it's helped me learn that I had a voice at a younger age. And growing up in church and being the pastor's kid, I wasn't afraid of an audience. I wasn't afraid of getting up in front of people. And so through writing, I think I was able to process a lot of emotions more than I think I was fully aware at that age. So writing has allowed me to process, it has allowed me to be honest. It's it's an outlet. So I don't have to keep stuff bottled up or trying to get things out dumb ways or unhelpful ways. So writing for me has become an outlet. It's helped me figure out how I feel about certain things. Yeah, and it also helps me speak and relate to other people because in writing and sharing it, you never know how many people will say, "Oh man, that's me too," or "I relate to that." So it helps the unhealthy solitude because you realize we're not unique in our struggles or our insecurities.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And you said you were raised as a pastor's kid. I as well. I'm PK.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So I completely understand what you mean about not being afraid to be in front, but also having that reluctant, like, oh man, I'm not sure, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I completely understand what you mean. My mother's a missionary turned minister, so I've always been church hopping
Hmm.
and like been around ministry all my life. And I also write poetry too, and I feel you on that. Whereas you said that it's an outlet, it's a way to kind of speak those feelings that you're not really used to having,
Yep.
and you have to like express that. But how do you express that? You don't even have the right words, sometimes. So for me, I completely get where you're coming from with that. And being a pastor's kid will definitely do that to you because you got to kind of keep some things bottled in, and you can't really say certain things because you have to keep
Hmm.
that is the eyes are on you. So you got to keep that look, and like you can't really talk to no one. You
Definitely.
feel kind of like you don't have nobody to really vent to because everybody's in this one world. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that. How do go back off of like an outlet for you? So what is your process while you're writing? Like, do you have a process where you kind of, or do you just write off your emotions?
No. I used to, but I think writing off of emotion or just waiting to be inspired, I think that kind of hinders for me. I feel like it hinders the writing process. And so now writing for me, it's still an outlet, but I'm learning that it's a craft and it's something that I have to put in the work and put in the effort to fully learn and know how, like, know what I'm doing and how to do it. So my process varies, honestly. Um, yeah, from like the days when I'm not inspired or I'm not fully tapped into certain emotions, but I feel the need to write. I have writing prompts. I have a plethora of books. Um, I know where to go if I need inspiration. If I'm booked for an event, then that's just a little bit different. That because that might include research. I send my poems to get feedback from people that I trust. There are times when I have to set the atmosphere. I have a candle that I only light when I write because I'm trying to see if I can kind of train my senses to know like when you smell this, you're gonna have something to write.
Is right.
Yeah, and steam writing where I just write for a certain amount of time without stopping, just to kind of get rid of all of the distracting thoughts and kind of prep myself that I'm about to write. So
Wow. So it's kind of like a brain dump.
pretty much.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
So when I write off of straight emotion. So if I'm feeling an emotion, I'm like, all right, this is good. Let
Hmm.
me just hurry up and like type this on my phone real quick, get this out. But that is great. You sit and you just dump everything out your brain, like create your ambiance,
Yep.
your area. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. So how has God allowed you to be your best self? How do you feel God has like allows you to be your best self?
Through some very uncomfortable ways.
Yeah.
Um, I think He has allowed me to be my best self by providing opportunities when I'm not sure about this artist life. When I'm like, maybe I should just quit all this, go back to school, get a real degree, get a job. I feel like in those moments, he provides opportunities to remind me, like, no, this is it for you. Like
Yeah.
this is it. Also in community, like I have a really, really dope, amazing tribe. I have friends who tell me the truth. I have friends who encourage me to be vulnerable, even if it ends in getting my feelings hurt. And so I think that that allows me to be my best self and being at peace with myself. Even the stuff that I need to work on and repent of. I think when I'm able to be at peace with who I am and accept who I am, I'm able to accept those around me, even when they're doing stuff that I don't like, that rubs me the wrong way. It's just like, okay, like I can't control it. So why am I stressed? Why am I worried? Why am I beating myself up? I am the queen of being like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And so what that allows me to do is it eliminates some fear and stress from putting myself out on the internet, because in my mind I'm like, we all came from the same dirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, so I'm less afraid, or not even less afraid, but I'm just more willing to experiment and try things when I realize that my worth and my value doesn't come from my productivity. It doesn't come from the applause and the likes and the shares, but like I can write, whether five of
Yes.
y'all like it or 8,000 of y'all like it. I'm like, no pride. I'm cold at what I do. So it's like,
Yes.
and
Period.
being able to be at peace with that, which is why when people ask me, how do you do this? I'm not afraid of sharing resources, because you being your best self does not hinder my best self. Like there's room for all of us to eat. So it's
Yes.
like, so God being like, yo, you're not perfect, but you should try to be excellent because you're made in my image and I'm excellent. So I'm
Yes.
trying to reflect the image that I bear as best as I can. And so in God allowing me to screw up, to be rejected, to be dissed, like to go through all of these very human experiences, I can still show up as my best self at the end of the day. Cause I have to go to sleep with myself every night. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
so my like
Yeah.
success to me is being able to go to bed with a clear conscience. Like I
Yeah.
did what I could do with the best to the best of my ability. And the best of my ability is going to change based on my circumstances. Like I may have screwed up, I may have said some harsh words, but you know what? That was the best that I could do because
Mm-hmm.
I could have
Mm-hmm.
done worse. But
Yeah.
I still tried. So yeah, that's I hope I answered that question.
No, you you blew that out the like
Okay.
that was great. Yes, yes, I agree with you 100%. That is all. I'm like I'm listening to you and I'm like, am I talking to myself? Because you sound like me.
Yeah.
That is awesome because and I just this last I believe April to May, I had the few episodes I dropped were about healing and becoming aware of your tribe. And I love that you said that your tribe is what kind of helps you and
Hmm.
drives you, because that is what I'm learning to do, is kind of create and cultivate my tribe of people who are actually helping me create and cultivate and become the best version of myself, because little do people know we need people.
Yeah. Right.
We actually need people to help build this up and encourage us and push us, and really just be a good voice and a voice of criticism, like out of a good place,
Yep.
in order for us to become better. So I love that you said that, and also for you to be your best. Oh man, you just killed that. You killed that whole answer. And you said that you want to go to bed at night knowing that you did your best, knowing that you did put out your best foot forward and everything. So that for me as well. I feel like if I don't go to sleep at night, knowing like if I lay my head on the pillow, did I do everything I could in these last 24 hours to make sure that I'm setting the stones that I need to set down for my
Yeah.
legacy. So I completely love that answer. That was awesome. And you have you not wanting it to be. You said your work is dope.
Mhm.
Your work is dope. You're dope.
Yeah.
So you're not looking for that validation anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's awesome when God takes us from a place of we need to get this, we need to do this, we need to do this, to like, no, this is my purpose. I'm in it and that's it. I don't
Once
need
you
it.
get it, it only takes
Yeah.
one negative comment. It
Yeah.
only takes one negative comment. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's
It
like,
don't matter.
yeah, and I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm solid. Like of course there's always like those moments, right? Like I don't
Hmm.
want to try to like make myself sound like I got it all figured out. But what
No,
I'm
you did.
saying is mentally I know where my worth comes from, and so it takes
Yes.
training the rest of me to remember that in certain moments.
Right. And it shows. Because whatever you believe in yourself, whatever you see within yourself, it shows. It pours out into your work. It pours out into your persona. It pours out into how people perceive you. Because if you see yourself like this, and I always tell people, and this is what the last few months was about, which is so I'm glad you said it, because I was telling them that basically it starts within you. Everything starts within yourself. The work begins within you. Soon as you are able to say, hey, I'm an amazing person, give yourself those positive affirmations, trust in the word that God has given you, the promise that God has given you, and walk in that truth within yourself. You have to believe it first. Then everything else will just start to roll out on its own. So the fact that you said that, oh, we didn't freeze. Did you freeze? You
You
did.
froze on
Oh,
me.
okay. Are you good now?
I can hear you,
Okay.
but they cut your video off. I don't know if it's my end or what.
Okay. Oh, man,
I can hear
come
you though.
on. Okay. Is the video back on?
Nope, but your voice is clear.
Okay. Well, let's hope it comes back up. Um, I don't know why it does that from time to time.
Okay.
I don't know why it does that from time to time, but that's okay. Give me 1 second.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so I feel like God has just an amazing way of doing. I'm sorry, my puppy ran in here. You didn't see it on the video, but my puppy ran in here and she was trying to get on my lap. But but yeah, so but yeah, God is just awesome in that way where he'll take us from like that place of where we need that validation and be like, no, you don't. Like I gave it to
Yeah.
you. You have the purpose. You were born with this. This is what you're meant to do. And the world and society will try to make us feel like we're doing the wrong thing, or this isn't the conventional way. This isn't the right way, or it doesn't look right because you're not making money out of it. You're
Yep.
not making like any type of source of income from it. But no, this is what God placed in me, and I know that if He put me here, that He's gonna open the doors necessary for me to get to where I need to get to. So I loved your answer
Facts.
because I was like, I felt like I was listening to myself. I was like, yo, this is this is dope. This is dope. So when okay, so you said okay, so you said that's how God has allowed you, and you did kind of answer when you are your best self. So that is awesome. So what were some of the obstacles that you had to face, in order for you to create? So what obstacles do you think, like, give me like, I guess two of like the biggest obstacles you had to face
In order to
um,
create.
in order to create? Yeah.
Okay, but wait, what do you mean? Like physical,
Like,
like creating projects, or like being confident as a creative. Like,
you know what? Being confident as a creator.
okay.
In order for you to be confident
Uh,
in what you're in your craft. Yes.
so I think the top two, I think the first one was that I didn't sound like a lot of other of the typical spoken word artists, especially in the Christian circle. I didn't sound like
Mm-hmm.
them. I wasn't talking like them. My topics were different. I feel like majority of poets, like, they do a lot of sermon um, type feel, and me
Mm-hmm.
is like, I'm talking about breakups. I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about other things. Um, and that, yeah. So that, and just owning my own voice, like, no, like, this is who I am. I'm not about, like, I'm not about, if I have to sound like you to get where you are, what, why? um I
Mm-hmm.
think the second thing was not having a team of people, or like super professional, what's the word, super professional equipment.
Right.
Like, like, for a long time, my stuff was recorded on my voice memo. It's recorded on my phone. It's grainy. It's not good, but I'm still putting it out. So I think
Yes.
just being okay with that, like, Jasmine, this is what you are and who you are. You're gonna have to do what you can with that. And
Yes.
then a few years later, a sound guy at my church is giving me a microphone. Somebody is telling me what type of lights to get. My brother is doing, like, so yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think it's learning that you have to start with where you are and what you have, and being
Yes.
okay, because the people, it's like that movie, if you build it, they will come, right? If I use my
Yes.
voice and just speak about what I know, I don't have to open my Bible and exegete an entire passage to get up there and do a poem. because there are women out there who don't know what to do with their broken hearts, who don't know what to do with their value, because nobody's talking about it in a way that makes sense and in a way that's honest and true. It's like all of these
Yeah.
poets get up there and they talk about how they doubted God for the first two lines of their poem, and the rest of the poem's about how they found trust in God. I want to do a 5 minute poem about how I'm still doubting God. I
Hmm.
haven't gotten to the other part yet. So I'm not gonna pretend to be somewhere that I'm not for an
Yes.
applause. Like I doubt
Yes.
God, period. That's the end of the poem.
That's it.
Because I'm not your pastor. I'm not your
Yes.
pastor.
No, I'm a
I,
human
I'm
being.
a creative, and I'm going to talk about what I know and what I experience and what I have to as honest and still biblically sound as I can.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think once I accepted that, like this is who I am and what I am, and this is what I have. So if my video is grainy, it's gonna take me 10 years to post one with good quality. And it's like,
Mm,
no, I'm gonna post what I have because this is the best that I can do right now. I can't put out what somebody else is doing when they have 15 people on their team and they have all of this equipment. So why am I beating
yeah.
myself up upset that my stuff doesn't look like them?
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
get there, I'll
Exactly.
get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And it's just your outlook on how you see everything. It's how you like you're not going to be constricted by what you have and what you don't have. You're just going to do it, which is amazing. And I feel you on that too. This I mean, you I swear we the same person. Because that's how it was for me.
Yep.
When I started this podcast last year, it was during the pandemic. I only had my cell phone. And I was so scared to start because I was like, well, I'm not Joe Rogan. Like, I
Right.
don't have a set. I don't have all this stuff that he has. And he has like all these thousands of like people. I'm not like, other people, Christian podcasters who have all this stuff. And I don't know what to do. I was like, you know what? I was like, God, I want to do this. I'm just going to record on my phone. So I just started recording on
Yeah.
my phone. you know and eventually I learned from other podcasters. I got mentored by a podcast, like a guy who owns a studio here in Orlando, and he mentors me and he's teaching me everything that I'm doing now at home. So it's like God will place and he'll create the things that you need. You just got to trust him and just say, hey, God,
Right.
I'm doing it. Just give me my life jacket, let's go.
Because and
Like,
and I had to realize like people are less likely to sow into a concept.
oh yeah.
But if they see that you're actually doing stuff, they're more willing. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I say I want to do this, why would I give you a mic for something that you think you kind of want to do?
Mm-hmm.
But they're like
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're doing this. Your equipment just sucks. I have
Yeah.
an extra mic for you." Because it's like I'm more willing to sow into an action than I am a concept.
Yes, yes, yes. That's powerful. That is powerful. That is true. A lot of people will sow into an action. They want to see that you're actually producing
Yep.
something in order to give it to it. That is true. That is true. If I was just like, hey, I want to start a podcast. Okay.
Who are you? I don't know what you
Well,
talk about. I don't know what you've done because you have nothing to show for this podcast.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's true. It's true. You people do so more into an action than they do just a concept. So yes, I agree with you on that. That's powerful, man. Oh man, it's like having a conversation in the mirror. It's crazy. Um, so did you have any moments of uncertainty, like when you were like, let's say your first speaking engagement? Let's say that. Like, were there any moments where like, is this what I should be doing?
Several moments.
Yeah.
Um, wow, I've been doing this for a long time. I think for me, like growing up, I didn't really see a lot of spoken word artists, like poets, who were doing this, right? Like,
Hmm.
and especially in school, you learn about Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, which is amazing, but you're like, I'm not Toni, I'm not a
Yeah.
Maya. Um,
Yeah.
and so in college, I learned about P4CM and Ezekiel Preston, all those guys. And I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. But I still was like, this is probably going to be a hobby for me. This is just something I do on the side, like when somebody
Yeah.
asks me. And then I ended up moving to Chicago, and I got the chance to be mentored by some of them and like really helped me like hone this craft and figure out like, oh, this is an actual option. But even then,
Yeah.
it's like there was a time when I was just grinding. I was taking any and every gig, not getting paid, on the bus, sketchy neighborhoods. Like, ain't no telling how many times God done spared my life trying to get to some of these shows. But there came a time where I was like, I've been doing this for a long time. And I feel like I'm in the exact same spot that I have always been in. And so I was like, maybe this ain't it. And it wasn't a question, it wasn't always a question of, am I good? It was more so, am I good enough? Am
Yes.
I known enough? Because it's, and like, you can't really put a timetable on that. But there were many moments where I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm, or I felt like there was something I was missing. Like, I felt like there was a door somewhere and I just wasn't finding it. Like, I always felt
Mm.
like I was like going in the right direction, but I was on the wrong street.
Wow.
So for a while, I was like, if I could just get, like, if I could just get to the people, or if I could just figure out this current that I'm missing, like I know I can do it if I get, get the chance. Yeah, and I reached this point where I was like, I'm done. I
Yeah.
was like, Lord, I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't keep getting disappointed. I can't keep getting my hopes up. I can't keep imagining this place and it never being offered to me. I felt like I
Yeah.
was always striving and never reaching anywhere where I wanted to be. And I had given up, and I remember it was like 2019, I think. It was New Year's Eve. I was at church with my best friend. Like, relationships weren't working out, poetry wasn't working out. I hated my job. And I was just at the altar in tears. I was like, I am done. And the pastor was like, think back over the year and what you give thanks for. And I'm like, can we do another year? It's like, I get it, but I'm still thanking God for food on my table. Like, how many times, like,
Yes.
let's be honest, that's not always, I want to give thanks for something else. And I was
Yes.
done. I was like, when I tell you I was done, and then 3 days later, Ezekiel called me and offered me a spot on the PIA tour. And I was just
Wow.
like, I was like, Lord, you be cutting it close.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, let me
Mhm.
see. Because I was
Yes.
done. I was like,
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I
Wow.
was
Wow.
exhausted. I was consistent, but
Yeah.
exhausted, and I lost hope, but I was still consistent.
Woo. Woo. Woo.
Because I didn't
Listen.
know what else to do. All I know
Yeah.
how to do is be a creative. I
Yeah.
don't know anything else. There's nothing else that I would rather do to make money. There's any other thing where I would just be miserable and I would just be doing it to get by. And
Yeah.
I accepted that. I was like, I'm gonna just be miserable for the rest of my life and pay these bills. That's cool. I'll live
Wow.
just like majority of Americans. We're
Yeah.
miserable. So I was like, I can live.
Wow. Wow. And it was right then. Like at that end, you're just like, man, I'm done. God was like, not yet.
No,
Just
no.
playing.
I feel like me and God be playing catch with the white flag. Like, I quit. No, you don't. I quit. Yeah,
I was just like, yeah, nah.
right.
I got you. No worries. But that's awesome. Like the fact that, and it's such a, you don't hear this. And this is why I wanted to have this podcast. This is why I created this podcast to have conversations like this because you don't hear this in church. You hear the testimony. You don't hear the part where they were broken, defeated, tired, angry, upset, and they were done.
Yep.
You don't hear that. You hear oh, God did this for me. He'll do it for you. All right? You're waiting for God to do it for you, but you're so broken, defeated, and done. And you're like, did they feel like this? And God did it for them? Like, did this person feel like,
How long in between the God did it?
yes,
You never know.
for you? And you, yeah, what happened in between that? Can we talk about what happened then? You know what I mean? And a lot of people, we don't talk about this. And I don't know why it's not spoken about because we're human. And a lot of people forget that. Like, yes, we're believers. Yes, we're Christian. Yes, we believe that God is able. Yes, but we're human.
Yep.
And we lose the human aspect of everything. And of like our walk, we lose humanity. We lose humanity, and we know that I believe God is going to do this for me. I trust and have faith in Him, but God, I am hurt. I'm tired.
I
This is a lot of work. I'm putting in time, effort, and I don't see anything.
am I
It's
planting in the wrong field? Let me know.
yes, what am I doing? Like, why is this not working for me? And a lot of, I go through that, especially with this podcast. Like, I go through that with with work and school and all of that stuff where I'm like, dang, am I even in the right major? Like, I'm tired. Like, I don't even want to
Listen,
do this, kind of thing. But I have to trust that we know, and that there's that trust and that belief, but there's also that exhaustion phase, and I feel like no one speaks about that. So I thank you for being very transparent about that because a
yeah.
lot of people don't talk about, oh, God did it for me.
Mhm.
That's all. That's the end all be all of it. God did it for me.
Yep.
Well. I mean, how? And what did you feel in that? Because I don't want to feel like I'm wrong for feeling tired.
Exactly.
I don't want to feel like I'm wrong for doubting. I don't want to feel like I'm wrong because it happens. We're human.
Yeah,
We're human, and that's why God is just that's why God is as awesome as He is. Because He meets us where we are in that moment, and He's like, "Yo, chill, chill, chill.
for real.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Chill out. I got you." So yeah, I'm so that is awesome. That is awesome. So you have a book that you're doing.
Yes.
So what inspires? Is it just a plain poetry book, or is it
Yes.
an actual?
It's
Okay.
it's a poetry book. I haven't done one in a long time. I did one before, but I wasn't in love. Um,
Mm,
and so I just haven't been in a space to create a book that I was actually proud of.
mm,
So this one is a long time coming. So the goal is to release it in July.
nice.
And there will be some other surprises along with that. But yes, this one is just a poetry book. Lord willing, in the future, I have some other novels that I've been working on forever. Um, but
Okay.
yes, this is a poetry book. It'll have some other
Nice.
like thoughts and musings and other things that aren't really poetry, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it themed?
Yes
I don't want
and
you to give too
no.
much
It's fine.
beforehand, but
Yes and no. Well, the title of the book is "Done Being Strong," a collection of poems. And so
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Ooh.
you heard it here first. You
Yes.
heard it here first, folks. Uh,
Done being strong.
Done being
Ooh.
strong.
That's
So
powerful.
yeah, so it's kind of a theme, but it's also a very broad theme.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything's gonna be in there. Everything. I'm gonna have like my performance pieces will also be written out. Like "Dear Daughter" will be in there. The poem for my
Yeah.
dad will be in there. Some performance pieces will be given, their own little space. Um, yeah, it's called "Done Being Strong." I can't wait. I am. My heart and soul is in this book, so I'm excited.
Yo, that is dope. I'm so excited. That is
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah,
definitely. So butterflies, please don't miss out on that drop. Okay. That's gonna be dope. And this has been an amazing conversation. Like I don't even want to end the conversation because it's so dope. This is great. But I do want to go back to something you said earlier. You didn't state that, you didn't want to write poetry to speak on, and just kind of piggyback on what we were just talking about, but you didn't want to write poetry to only speak on Christianity and God, but you
mhm,
wanted to reach on topics that, just I'm tired, I'm doubtful, I'm brokenhearted, um, things like that. So I feel like, and that goes back to what I was just saying, was that a lot of people don't talk about these things.
yeah,
And it is scary, especially coming from a pastor's kid,
yeah,
especially me, like for me, because doing this, I do the same thing. I'm talking about unconventional topics, like when you're depressed and you don't know how to get out of your own depression and stuff like that,
yeah.
because, a lot of people don't talk about these things. We have to, and we internalize it. So how do you feel like it's changing? Do you feel like the conversation is changing regarding like mental health in church nowadays?
I feel like yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like mental health is a lot more acceptable, but part of me feels like it's all talk.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like it's all talk because at the same time, like the same generation that is so pro mental health, we're also so pro going ghost, cancel culture,
Come on.
bragging about not texting and not calling,
I said, come on.
bragging about these unhealthy boundaries, bragging
I said,
about
word.
if it's not for me, then I'm not with you. If you're not supporting me, I'm not with you. This is the reason why our mental health is in shambles because we can't trust people. We can't.
Come on.
We don't love people, and at the same time, we're
Ooh.
sitting here preaching love that God is love, but we're supposed to be His representative.
Ooh,
God
come
doesn't
on.
go ghost. God does not just not get back to you. God doesn't. God like no, like it's no. So for me, it's like
Yes.
all fluff. Like if you're going to
Yes.
send me to therapy and be the same reason I need a therapist, get out my face. Get out my face. Like when I tell you I hate it here, gee, I hate it here. Like, do I
Yes.
hate phone calls? Absolutely. When my friends call me, do I pick up? Yes. Why? Because I love them. Period.
Yes.
Do I have the time? No. Do I call back? Yes. Do I
Yes.
sit back and say, you know what? let me text them and say, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I just haven't had the
Right.
capacity for this conversation. Please give me grace. I do that.
Yes.
I do
Yes.
that
Yes.
because because I don't want to be this person who talks a big game and then I die and folks pass out. I'm not living it. Like, no. So
Yes. Yes.
I think our generation is real good at talk.
Yes.
Our generation is
Yes.
really good at talk, and that's why we don't understand God because we think that God behaves like us. So we think God ghosts us because we ghost people and go to bed at night like it's fine. No, like it's like we tell people, "Hey, you need help. Here I am." And then when I
Yeah.
call you, you're not around. And then you slap some mental health terminology to excuse your behavior.
Oh, come on.
And I'm like,
Come
"No.
on.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were not having an anxiety attack. You didn't want to talk to me.
Period.
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 Period." So I think all this mental health talk is a double-edged sword because
All right.
we're calling laziness anxiety. We're calling a lack of love self-care.
My God.
So for
My
me,
God.
I'm
Yeah.
over it. I'm over it
Yes.
because
Yes.
I'm over it because maybe I'm built different. I don't really know, but I know for a fact if I can bury my father in the ground, get
Yeah.
up the next day and do a spoken word piece and
Mm.
encourage other people,
Yes.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Gee, like
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. And I'm not throwing shade on people who really genuinely are going through things and have struggles and have mental health issues. But I think it's not fair to those people who genuinely have these concerns. For those of
Yes.
us, for those of us who just will not take the time to self-assess and call a spade and
Mm.
stop labeling it all of these other things, it's not fair to people who genuinely have mental health issues.
Oh, come on.
It's not fair.
Come on.
It's not
It's
fair
not fair.
because what happens
Yes.
is people like me, we get tired of all of it, and so we don't give people who really have issues a time of day because we can't tell.
Yes.
It's the boy who
Oh
called
my
Wolf.
God.
It's the boy who called
Yeah.
Wolf. So for me, I'm over it. Honestly, I'm, I'm done. I'm so
Okay.
done.
Okay.
Stop talking about love. Stop talking about mental health. Stop it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Just kill
Shut
it.
up. I'm over it.
Good.
Oh, I'm bad. You're not bad at communication. You just don't love
Yeah.
me enough to communicate with me. Period. Period.
Mm.
How you in a whole marriage and you bad at phone calls? How he
Come
how
on.
he pursue you?
Huh. Come on.
How? How you getting booked for stuff?
She preaching.
How? How is not showing up on time something you brag about? Who hires you?
Oh my
It's
goodness.
disrespectful.
Come
Because
on.
all it does is it lets your tribe know. It lets your
Yes.
entire tribe know that y'all not that
Yes.
important to me because y'all not my bag.
Right.
That's all.
Oh my God.
Period.
Wow.
Period.
That's
Period.
it. That's
Because
it.
your mental health struggles don't stop you from getting that money.
That's
It
right.
don't it
That's
don't stop you
true.
from going to work.
You clock in every
Clock
day.
in every day. But let me decide that I'm done with you because you're not showing up in my life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
It's a
it's a
problem.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, I didn't even mean to get that worked up, but I
No, 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 that was fire. Yo, you should, I don't know if you can see my video. Can you see
yeah,
me?
I can see you.
Oh, okay.
I'm like my generation,
I'm going
and
crazy.
I'm not guilty. We talk a
Yeah, no.
great game. We
Yeah.
talk a great game,
Yeah.
but we the loudest ones. It don't bother me. I ain't gonna let it bother me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care. Y'all can't
Yeah.
let stuff get to you. It's supposed to get to me.
It
I'm
is.
supposed to be hurt.
You're
I'm
human.
supposed to be sad. You're supposed to
Yes.
affect me. You're
Yes.
supposed to. Because if you don't
Yes.
affect me, you don't bother me. What am I going to God for?
Exactly.
What
Exactly.
like what a friend we have in Jesus. I have nothing to give to him. I have nothing to bear to him because I'm not letting anybody affect me.
My God.
That doesn't make sense. We have an effect on
Jesus.
God. So why
Oh my
wouldn't you have an
God.
effect? Like I just girl,
Yeah.
I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like
Oh my God.
I'm
That you just yeah. Yeah, you hit it on the head.
so
I feel the same way.
some people are
Yeah,
and so yes, there is a change. I'm not sure how healthy that change is. I'm kind of sitting back and I'm watching.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's crazy because it's like it's all talk. It is all talk nowadays. Ghosting, what cancel culture? It's cancel culture. It is normal. They cancel people. You ain't supporting me. You ain't in my life. Bye. You ain't helping me.
Yep.
You ain't. Bye.
I was having a hard time.
It's
I ain't text you back. That was 3 months ago.
yeah.
You having a
Like
4 month hard time?
yeah. I mean, you could text that at that moment. And if you trust me as your friend, you would understand that I understand that. So it's kind of like that mental health that is it is a lot of big talk, and I like a lot of people monetize off of it. One, number two, it's just I think it's a way for the church to kind of fit in now, because it is becoming a conversation. They're just trying to like monetize and be like, hey, look, we're having mental health conference, we're having this, and it's kind of like, are you really? Or are you really just trying to, get clout off of this? Are you really trying to just grow off of this?
Everything is
Because there are people
diagnosable.
out here who have to deal with this daily. And it's true. You don't know who's real. You don't know who's fake. You don't know who to trust.
Yep.
And it makes it very hard. Since my adolescence, and I talk about this a lot on my pod, but since I was like 10, 11 years old, I dealt with deep depression. I wanted to commit suicide when I was 11. And I tried a couple times. But praise be God, I'm still here.
Praise him.
It's just, yes. Yes. But it's like having to deal with that mindset and kind of build myself up from that low area and have God help me get here to where I am, where I'm confident enough, to do a podcast and record myself. It takes a lot for me to even get on camera, like the anxiety level I have. Just to be able to do this. So for me, as a person who has to deal with anxiety daily and has to deal with constant self-gaslighting daily, because I do it to myself. I gaslight myself a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, having to deal with that, and then having to go to church and you sit there and you try to explain to people, especially because I deal with a lot of youth. So I have youth who have the same problem. And I'm like, yo, I can meet you where you are, because I was there.
Yeah.
And I'm still there, as an adult. And I'm trusting God through it, but I'm still there. But then you have a parent or a pastor that comes in and says, don't worry about that. God will heal you from that. There's no healing from that. You're living in that.
Listen.
You get what I'm saying? It's something that you're living through.
Yep.
You trust God through it.
Yes.
But you can't get healed from that because it's so deep. You know what I mean? You can work through the feelings, work through the trauma, work through the hurt, through the pain. But it's deeper than that. So I feel you on that, when it's like you can't really find someone, you can't really trust people when it comes down to mental health issues.
Yep.
You can't, because people will use it to cover their stains and their flaws and their shame, instead of facing it and saying straight up what it is.
So now they're trying to deal with you, someone who's genuinely having depression and suicidal tendencies. They're dealing with you the exact same way they would deal with somebody who didn't get what they want and they're really disappointed and sad about it. Not and not saying that that's not serious. Disappointment is very real. But I'm not going to come at it the same way for somebody who has depression.
Right.
But we lump it together because we don't understand it. Or we lump it together with somebody who's genuinely having an adult temper tantrum because God said no. And we find what's the closest mental health term? Depression.
Yeah.
So now you have somebody who's like, no, G, I'm really depressed. They're mad.
Yeah. Simply
They're not
the terminology.
They're not depressed. They're privileged and upset. It's a difference.
Hey.
I tried to take my life.
Wow. Yeah.
I tried to end what I have. And you talking to me the same way as somebody who just mad because God won't let them get what they want?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's the terminology.
And you know what I think about? Not even to keep going over, but I think about the story of Job. How his 3 friends came and spoke to him, and they were out of line and not saying what God said, and God was upset.
Yeah.
So I'm like, y'all talking all this talk. Don't be like Job's friends, church. Because the Lord was mad.
Yes.
And I don't want the Lord to be mad at me.
Okay, simply. Simply.
Mercy,
they came
Lord.
in here talking all that, huh?
Talking all that. I'm like, mercy, Lord. Mercy, Jesus. Forgive me. Y'all better shut up and repent.
That's it. It's just stop. You don't even know what's going on over here. Just support me and understand. That's all I need you to do. Even if you don't understand. Understand
that you're not the one for this. You should probably find someone who's equipped, because it ain't.
Yes. It ain't you. Simply. Simply. All right. So we're dwindling down a little bit, but I'm really enjoying this. So, You talk about brokenheartedness a lot. You talk about relationships. So Jasmine, single?
Yes.
Yes, girl. Yes.
So you know somebody?
Nah, girl, I'm single too, so we both we in the same boat.
Listen, I'm single and content, but I don't mind changing it. Okay.
All right, all right. So you talk about it a lot. So how do you feel about that? There's a lot of conversation happening now regarding relationships. There's a lot of conversation happening. It's changing. A
Mhm.
lot of things are changing nowadays
Okay.
regarding just relationships and how it's being viewed and how like gender roles are changing and everything like that. I just did a roundtable talk with some women last weekend, and we talked about gender roles. We talked about like relationships and like all that good fun stuff, submission and all that fun stuff.
Hmm.
But as a single black creative woman, right, in today's society, how do you feel um, about the Christian dating era right now?
Hopeless. Hopeless. Honestly.
I feel you.
Again, all talk. I think I hear a lot of things that I would say, oh man, that's dope. That's great. Y'all not
Yeah.
doing it though. We're not doing it. Let me speak correctly. I think it boils down to fear. I think men are blaming women, women are blaming men, and we're both guilty of both assaults.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think, unfortunately, I have a poem called Church Boys, and I think that very much sums up my opinion on the case. Um,
Good point.
I think that I think unfortunately, and I'm genuinely not trying to play the blame game because I think that women and men, we both have a lot of things that we have to sort out. Our expectations, what we've been taught, our entitlement. I think there's a lot of issues. But I think as the church, if we're going to continue to go about this submission and men are the head talk, which is biblical, I think that the men need to be taught as much as the women. I think that the women are taught a whole lot more. Whether it's
Yeah.
accurate or not is a totally different episode. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
but I because for me, like on one hand, you start to think like, oh, there's not that many single people. But then
Yeah.
as you like kind of get out there a little bit, you're like, there's a lot of us. But the
Yeah.
issue is single men are saying there's no women who take it seriously anymore or anything like that. And I'm like, but we're saying the same thing. So how
Yeah.
come how come the group of you all who want to be serious and the group of us who want to be how come we're not
Having the same conversation.
or getting
We're
together
having the same conversation, but not in the same place.
or how come we're just not getting together and marrying each other?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm like
facts. That's
so
true.
I'm like, I get it. We're all taught and we're afraid. Period.
Yeah.
We're afraid.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
afraid.
Simply.
I think we're afraid, and I'm starting to believe it's not a lot of real ones in the mix, and there's a lot of people in the mix. Um,
Hmm.
because I'm like, I feel like I know way too many people for them not to know any single godly men who are looking for godly women.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's a word within
with
itself.
yeah, so I think part of it too, maybe it's social media. I don't know, but what I think our idea of love is not healthy. Um, because for me, like thankfully, I grew up and my parents were married. Obviously, they weren't perfect. I don't know why we have to feel the need to say that now. I'm like, ain't nobody perfect, but whatever. But I think we have dwindled down what real love looks like to something that is Instagrammable, right?
Mm.
Because
Aesthetic.
I think about my parents and how my father died of cancer. And so in their last few years though, my mom became his caretaker.
Hmm.
Like she took care of him.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's what love is.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
love is. Like my daddy came home at night. That's what love is. My daddy would pick me up from school and take me to go get pads because I was on my period. That's a
Wow.
father. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so I
Yeah.
think nowadays we want something that looks good, that feels good to us. And we forget that you're called to give the same love that you keep begging God for. Like
Can I drop
you're
one more
called
like?
If you say you want to get married, you're saying I want to love and be present and prioritize a broken man with issues, with trauma, who's going to hurt me, who's going to disappoint me, but I want to be faithful to that. That's what you're asking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what you really want is someone who looks good, going to
Perfect.
post you, who's going to hype you up, who's going to gas you up, who's going to be your support, be your assistant. You want
Unrealistic.
to be married, but you don't want to be a wife.
Oh, come on,
You
work.
want to be married, but you don't want to be a husband.
Come on,
You want
work.
someone to clean your house, to cook your food, to raise your kids, and to look good while she's doing all of that. You don't want to marry me.
Come on. Come on,
You don't want to
work.
marry me because
Come on.
what I can say is that I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I have a smart mouth. I shut down when I get frustrated. I can't. I can't cook. Who Thanksgiving
Yeah.
where?
Yeah, right? We're gonna go to Publix.
I'm going.
We're
I'm
gonna
going
go to
to
the market.
right. I'm going to be a traveling poet. I'm going to strap that baby on my back and go do sound check. Like, and so
Yeah.
I think we're not being realistic. And I
Right.
get it, and I
Right.
get that we've all been hurt. Like, I get it. And so for me, it's like, is Jasmine putting herself out there? No, she's not.
Yeah.
She's not because she's
Yeah.
disappointed. She's hopeless, and y'all not making it look good. Y'all not
Yes.
making it
Yes.
look good at all,
Yes.
at all.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I think if there is going to be improvement in the Christian dating scene, I think there needs to be some genuinely honest conversations, and I think married people need to start telling the truth. I
Yes.
think I think
Oh,
married people need to start telling the truth because
yes.
they are only fooling
Yes.
people who are immature and who don't know better. You're not
Yes.
fooling me. Um,
Yes.
I need I, I,
Yes.
I need married people to tell the truth. I need them to tell the
Ooh.
truth.
Yes.
I need them
They
to tell
gonna
the
fuck
truth.
with you.
I need them to stop living vicariously through their single friends.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Say that one more
I
time. I'm sorry.
I,
Hold
I
on.
need married people to stop living vicariously through their single friends. Like, I'm over it. I need married people to stop trying to mentor me. Focus on a marriage and talk about that reality. Talk about the
Period.
reality of marriage. Because you're
Thank you.
not. Because you're not. You're just as guilty as
No.
we are as our false expectations.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
no.
Sometimes it's too late for them too. So they trying to, you know what I mean, make us feel bad for waiting
Yeah.
and having our
Yeah.
expectations.
And it's like,
So it's
when I tell you Jasmine is over all of it,
listen, talking to the mirror right now.
no, I'm not.
Oh my
No, I'm not listening
goodness.
to your podcast. I'm not watching your YouTube channel. And I'm
No.
not. I'm not.
This
I'm not
this is
listening
our
to.
first time. For everybody that is like watching this and thinking I'm not playing. This is my first time having a conversation with Jasmine. Like ever. And I feel like I'm talking to myself. This is crazy.
And stop talking
It's
about your
crazy.
struggles and stop talking about your struggles in a beautiful way. I'm a
Yes.
poet. I know how to make struggles sound beautiful where you want to join me in it.
Yeah.
That's not what this
Yeah.
is. Like that's
Yeah.
not what this is. And so many people
Yeah.
like cuz even when I say like, "Oh, I want to be married." They're like, "It's not what you think it is." What do you
Mhm.
think I think it is?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
must think I think what it's what you thought it was.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm not saying
Yes.
that I know what it is because I'm not married, but I am saying that we all guilty of lying. We're all guilty of putting forth
Yeah.
this image of something and like so I genuinely appreciate the married couples that I know for a fact are being honest and telling the truth. And I love the married couples who just minding their business and not trying to mentor nobody. I love
Exactly.
y'all. And
Yeah.
child, this is my last thing. I'm gonna try to be quiet.
No,
I
you
think
good. Keep
when it comes to ministry in the church that is geared towards singleness, stop preparing us for marriage.
on.
Your job, I feel like your job teaching anybody in the church is preparing me to spend eternity with God,
Period.
not some man who might not come.
Period.
Period.
It should
Teach
not
me,
be a
teach me
conversation.
how to study the Bible,
That's
how
it.
to break down a Bible verse. Teach
Exactly.
me freaking how to understand credit. Like,
Right.
what, teach me about like,
Yeah.
and I honestly believe that if we actually had healthy community,
Yes.
I think that platonic friendships would be different. If you teach me how to
Yeah.
be a friend instead of teaching me how to be a wife, I'm a friend right now. I need to
Yeah.
be a better
Yeah.
friend. I don't
Yes.
need to be prepared. I don't need to learn how to be a wife. I'm not a wife right now. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. Like, teach me how to do that well. That is
Teach me
pleasing
how to
to God.
communicate
Teach me how to communicate
effectively.
effectively and stop waiting until we get married to teach me how to talk to a man.
Yes.
There's men in my
Exactly.
community right now. Like,
Right.
teach me how to be a good friend. And then I think
Yes.
dating would go a little bit easier. But we don't know how to be
Yes.
friends because anytime we see me
Right.
talking to a dude, we assume, oh, there's something going on there.
They're together.
We
Yeah.
don't even know how to have
Yeah.
friendships. We don't even know how to be vulnerable and intimate in friendship. That's not romantic. That's not sexual. So then when you get married, you're not just learning the struggles of marriage, you're learning the struggles of an intimate friendship because you really don't have any.
Oh,
And you really don't have any with the opposite sex. So now you're working through all of these struggles that you could have been prepared for. But because the church
yes.
has idolized marriage and they
Yeah.
don't know what to do with single folk and don't let them be an
Yeah.
attractive single person, they don't know what to do because everybody
Yep.
clutching their husbands like we want them.
Yep. Yep.
Sis,
Exactly.
don't nobody want him
Exactly.
but you. I can promise
Don't nobody want him. You got him.
you.
You
That one,
fine.
all yours. And so
Okay.
it's just so unhealthy.
Wow,
I
man.
hate it here.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Everything to what you said.
I'm mad
Yes.
at myself for still wanting to be married
105%.
though. I'm
Huh?
mad at myself for still wanting to be married.
Right.
Take it,
Ain't
Lord.
that a thing?
Take it. Anybody want to buy a heart?
Ain't it such a like? It's like dang, but I do want to. I know what I'm saying, right?
I want to create
But
a
you're right
tribe.
about the intimacy. You're right about the intimacy in friendships and like being vulnerable and having communication and learning these things. Because yeah, you're right. People could be friends with men. Like a woman could be a friend with a man and be like, "Ah, they together." No, we're just really dope, good
Fun.
friends. And it's like I'm learning how to communicate effectively because you have to be able to communicate with the opposite sex in order to be married. How are you going to do that if you're not like comfortable having a conversation about certain things? So I agree with you on that. And it is like in the church, like even like in church, they try to separate the boys and the girls. You know, at a young age, they're like, "Oh no, you can't sit next to him. No, you can't. No, why are y'all talking after church? No, no, no,
Right.
kind of thing." So it's kind of like, well, how the heck are we going to learn how to be healthy in a godly marriage if I can't even have a
And they
conversation?
separate the married folk from the single folk. Why?
Yes, they do. They make it such a huge divide in the church where it's
Why?
like, "Oh, you still single?" You know, yeah, I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a problem?
You talk. Well, no, wait till you the babysitter. Don't call me.
Right?
Remember your jokes?
I ain't watching nobody
Remember all your
kid.
jokes? Date nights canceled.
Yes. Oh man. Okay, so Jasmine, we're at the last minute now. So I just want to say thank you so much for this. This was great. It was a wonderful conversation. I'm so blessed to have this conversation with you. I really felt like I was talking to myself the entire time, like I was having a mirror conversation. So it's awesome to have finally met you, to finally have a conversation with you. But everyone, please follow her at the Jasmine Sims on all social media platforms. She's on Instagram. You're on Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook. She also has some stuff, I believe, on Spotify.
Yes.
Correct? Like you release
Mhm.
some voice memos and stuff on Spotify. And she has her book coming out in July, guys. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's her poetry book, and you guys, please don't miss out on what she's dropping. So go follow her so you can keep up with her and keep up with her new poems that she drops. She drops new poems like every week, so it's really dope. Really good stuff. So Jasmine, thank you once again for being on with me today. May God just continue to bless you and pour into your life. And the way that you pour out to others, I just pray that He continues to use you in that way, and restore you in that way as well. Because it takes a lot of work to pour and pour and pour out. And I pray that God restores whatever you gave out and renews you in that area as well. And also, I pray that, with everything that you are doing, that it be aligned with Him and His will for your life. Oh my gosh,
Thank
Jasmine.
you. This
Ah,
was so
ah.
fun.
Yo, that was like amazing, man. I'm so grateful.
That was fun.
I'm so grateful. So hopefully we could do this again because like
Definitely.
that, I feel like we could just go on and on like different topics because that was just dope. But
Yeah.
all right, butterflies, you already know the deal. Always fly high. Thank you for listening to the Butterfly Diaries podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms at the Butterfly Diaries podcast. And don't forget, butterflies, always fly high.